Let's learn how to get help out of the Python interpreter. So this is quite helpful if you are online. Uh, so you can go and this is Python uh, standard Python documentation, docs.python.org. So where you can read about built-in types, and here also you can find documentation about standard library. But thing is that uh, so many people don't know that. So you can get that same documentation just there right in the interpreter. Where there is a help function as it is there, type help, okay, copyright, credit license for the information. If you type help, see this is a function, okay, where there are two ways. If you help, you can pass what for what object do you want to get help. For suppose if I type list, and you will get uh, yeah, all doc strings. These are actually doc strings from that list class. Okay, list object. So you will get this help and this scripting syntax. Okay. Likewise, you can get help of dir function is there. You can call dir. Do you see this? We got the help about dir function. Can you see? dir. If you call without an argument, it returns the name of the current scope. Else it returns the alphabetized list of names. Okay, comprising of attributes. Okay, in the sense it returns objects and methods. Same thing it is doing. If I pass dir of list, it is returning all methods, right? All attributes. dir of integer. If I give integer, what attributes integer is having. You see, you can call x equal to, if I assign 34, x dot, you can conjugate. Okay, you can refer, this is a method, so you can call, okay, x dot imaginary. Okay, because it is not having any imaginary component, imaginary numbers 3 plus 4 4j, like that. Okay, so you can get the x dot real number. Okay, x dot numerator. So these are, see, what are attributes, what are methods here. See, these are attributes because I don't call them to get the values, just I refer them. But this conjugate is a method because to get the result I should call that. So now let's see. Of course, for suppose a string, str is the factory method for the string. Uh, okay, you can create empty string by calling this as well. So let's if you don't pass any argument to help, and it will take you to the interactive interpreter of the help prompt. Okay, help prompt. Okay, this is a help prompt. Can you check here? I'm out. I came out. Okay, now you see help. Can you see help? Okay, there. If you don't type anything, you will exit, but you can type whatever you wanted to check. See, now if I have typed the string, so now I got all string class with all methods and documentation. So now let's see how to read this documentation. Okay, see, if you know, this is kind of cryptic, but if you learn to if you manage to learn how to read this documentation, many times you don't have to read this description. So let's check this count. What is count here? Whatever is right side of this greater than symbol is the return type. Okay, which means that you call this method, you should expect integer. Okay, and if you call, so if you this is open parenthesis and close parenthesis. We have learned this is a method call, and we have learned methods may take arguments and may not take, okay, arguments. So if you don't have any arguments, you simply put that nothing inside curly braces parenthesis. Okay, and you will call that. But this kind of syntax, whatever is inside, describes what arguments it is expecting. Anything not inside brackets is mandatory. Okay, so if you don't pass the mandatory argument, which means that which would throw an error. Okay, so sub, what is sub? And the whatever is inside is uh, brackets are optional. Okay, so which means that anything inside brackets, of course, which means that you can infer this as this count is a method. It takes overall three arguments: one, two, three. And since this is not inside bracket, it takes one mandatory arguments, which is sub, and two optional arguments because these two are in brackets. Okay, and what are these starts and sub arguments for that? Okay, sometimes these argument names are self-explanatory. Sometimes you may need to read the documentation. Let's read this documentation. Return the number of non-overlapping occurrence of substrings. Sub sub in a string, which means sub is a substring. Okay, and you see this start end. It's like a slice. Okay, so optional arguments. See here, this documentation itself is describing optional arguments start and end. Okay, of course, we don't have to read this in the documentation because you know that how to read, because these are in brackets. These are optional. All optional arguments start and end are interpreted as a slicing notation. Okay, slow. See, check this says sometimes this is how this they refer the documentation. S is the string. Can you see? Same as is referred here, which means that actual string. So it refers this as first it will take a slice of the actual string, then it tries to find the substring inside that. Okay, so now see, it returns integer. That is what it describes here. Returns the number of non-overlapping occurrence of substring. Okay, how many times there are non-overlapping occurrences are there for a substring. Now let me let me create. Let's check this same thing with an example. Okay, so string. Let's define a string. Yes. Okay, capital S. Let's take capital S. Okay, hello, welcome to Python. Do you know Python? Python is very powerful and pretty cool. Okay, and happy Python. Okay, now s dot count is there. Okay, we don't pass. You see, it throws an error, takes at least one argument. Okay, same thing it is described here. Of course, it takes at least one mandatory argument, two optional argument, returns the integer. Okay, okay, so what it is, what it takes a substring, what you wanted to find. Okay, that substring can be character, word, or some sentence. Okay, just try to find how many times you have h. Two times. Caps. Okay, let's try to find how many times you have e. 7 times. Okay, and let's check how many times there is how many times Python occurred in this string. 2 times. Okay, why? It is a case sensitive. You see, Python. Okay, Python 2, but this is also Python, but it is caps. Okay, it is case sensitive. Don't be confused. And just let's find how many times word 2 occurred. 2 times. Okay. So, but now let's find. I want to check how many times there is a how many times Python occurred, but I don't want to check that in a whole string. Okay. I want to check that till from Python or just pi. How many times pi occurred? 3 times. Okay, 3 times. Okay, so now how many times it occurred from beginning? I want to check till this end. This one. Okay, check the index. Okay. Uh, Maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay. Let's roughly I'm giving 20. Okay. So how many times occurred? One time. Because around here. Okay. Till here. Only one time. Do you understand? This is a slice. It is like taking a slice first. Okay. 0 to 20. Okay. Yeah. So 20 means here probably it is 20. Okay. Yeah, or 0 to 25. Okay, how many times taking slice, and then see here also you can apply this. Since it is string, you can apply uh, that here also. Do you understand? You can chain like this as well. Okay, so but this we are doing the whole thing here 5, then 0 to 25. Do you understand? And how many times from 25 to yeah, -1? How many times? This is slice, so you can use, right? You can use -1. Okay. So how many times happy occurred from 25 to 1 time? Okay. So that is how we read the documentation. So let's do another example. Let's see another example. Okay. Let's try to read. Yeah. I'll explain when it comes to. We'll discuss that one when we discuss all the string methods. Okay. Yeah. See here. See here, strip. So how many mandatory arguments it is taking? How many required arguments it is taking? None, because that one arguments is in a brackets. Do you understand? It takes 0 required arguments, 1 optional argument. Okay, and what it returns? It returns string or Unicode. Okay, means it returns another string or a Unicode. So for this you need to read the documentation. Okay, what these chars are. Okay, returns a copy of string s with the leading and trailing white spaces removed if you don't pass any chars. Okay, and next, if chars is given and not none, removes the characters instead. So instead of removing white spaces, it removes the given characters. If chars is Unicode, S will be converted to Unicode before stripping. Let's see this. Okay, so you have this S. Oh, sorry, have this S. Okay, let's define another small s. Okay, sx. Okay, or a string sr. Okay, give some spaces. Hello world. This is magical. Okay, and let's put underscores before as well. Okay. And I'm giving a spaces as described sr.strip. Can you see? Check, there are leading and trailing white spaces. If you don't pass any uh, arguments, okay, sorry, not string, strip, right? Yeah, it removes the leading and trailing white spaces. Exactly same thing it happened here. Do you see? It returns a copy of string with the leading and trailing white spaces removed. Okay, but if we give a character, that will remove those characters instead, but it doesn't work there because it tries to remove those characters first. There are no such characters. First there are string empty spaces. Do you understand? Okay, so for that we can do one thing. Okay, we can chain these methods like this. Okay, so first it tries to remove strip with the no arguments. It removes the white spaces, so you will get this thing, right? Okay, on top of this one you can apply a strip again with arguments underscore. Check this one. Okay, so yeah, so do you understand this method, chaining? The first it removes empty spaces, and result is this one. On top of, instead of assigning this to another variable, we are doing the, we're performing another, we are calling another same method, strip again with arguments. Okay, that way you can read the documentation. Sometimes, of course, reading this documentation, this is helpful to understand quickly what is what. And sometimes, as you may not understand, to understand about these arguments, what are these arguments, you may need to read the documentation. But this is quite helpful and handy. So when it comes to referring built-in documentation, okay, so this is quite helpful if you are actually, if you feel like many people feel like they are lost without internet when they are coding, but you are not lost. You have this pretty much great help function, so that you can read the documentation.